Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have Razim and Dava for group discussion. Today's topic of group discussion is education in regional language. Let me clear that my voice is audible clearly.
Yes, you are clearly audible.
Okay. I'm going to start with my opinion about the education in the regional language. If possible, please turn on your camera.
Wait a minute.
Okay. Yes. So as we discussed yesterday, about the National Education Policy 2020, which came after this 1986. Before NEP 2020, we have only two education policy, which is 1986 and 1968, if I am correct. So in NEP 2020, it was mentioned that there is a that the education will be imparted in the local language or mother tongue or regional language. As in policy, it is written that the education will be imparted till the class 5th in the local language. Also, there is a provision of teaching in regional language for higher education institute. So why this local language? Why in the era of the 21st century, where everyone wants to learn the English language for the communication, and the people who knows regional language face very difficulty in cities, in big cities or industries, and while they switch to academic to industry for their job. So in spite of that, government is promoting regional language, mother tongue. So there is a reason behind this. Everything happens, and there is a reason behind everything what happens. So in Young India, a book written by the Mahatma Gandhi, he said that by teaching our student in a language which is totally foreign to them, we are making our kids a foreigner in our own country. So you must know that there are various physics books which are famous in the world. Even the books such as you must have read some books which is 12th level in the time of preparation of JEE Mains. So these books are written in Europe, and in Europe they are first written in the regional local language. Then they are translated into the various language according to the demand. So why this happens? This is because there are there are so many clues for promoting the regional language. So the first thing is that in regional language or mother tongue, when we born, we first learn our mother tongue. So it is little bit convenient to express our thought in the mother tongue. In mother tongue. So I'm going to cite 2 or 3 examples and 2 3 benefits of the education in the regional language. Recently, you heard in the news that Union Minister of Education Sri Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank ji said that from this academic year, several NITs and IITs will start their several NITs and IITs will start imparting education in the regional language. So what are although you know that IITs and IITs, there is a communication language is English mainly. So why they switch to the regional language? So the first thing is that as I stated earlier, that if you have to express your thought in local language, you will express your thought more clearly, more you can explain more and more. Let us take some examples that how technical education in regional language will benefit our youth. So the first example is that suppose I am a student of Bihar Engineering College, and just after graduation, since we have not so industry, so I'm going to take example of Tamil Nadu. So let us suppose I am a engineer graduate from Tamil Nadu, and just after my engineering, I started working in some factory, automobile factory in the state Tamil Nadu. So what happens, since my educations, since the college imparted education me in the regional language, local language, so I am very comfortable with the local language. So when I go to the industry, I will communicate in a better way to the workers, who are working in the automobile factory. So there will be a smooth communication transfer. Also, I can take example of Bihar. Suppose after my BTech, I start working in some mechanical industry of Bihar. Then I can communicate to the workers in local language, Mathili, Bhojpuri. So in this way, I will communicate. Not only I, the most graduate will communicate to the shop floor worker in a efficient way. And yes, so this is the first benefit. And the second is thing, that why. So as we are pursuing BTech in mechanical engineering, just before BTech we have done rigorous effort to crack the JEE exam. So while preparing the JEE exam, what happens that uh, we go through the physics, chemistry, mathematics, up to, I can say, those who have prepared, cracked the JEE advanced, have the command over the physics, chemistry, and biology, physics, chemistry, and math up to a graduation level. Uh, so, uh, after cracking the JEE advanced exam, or after getting admission in the engineering college, we have also, in the first year of our curriculum, we learned physics and chemistries, also math, which was our in syllabus, and it was very much matching to the what we have learned in during the preparation time. But most of the students have command over this subject, but it has been seen in several NITs, IITs, or state engineering college that most of the students used to score low, or used to get fail in this basic subject which he have learned in during the time of preparation. So the reason behind this is that while they are preparing for the exam, they actually after getting entry into NITs and NITs, there is a language of communication is English, and while they are preparing for the exam, the language of communication is their regional language in many cases. So this is due to the, although they know the concept very well, but in spite of that they fail due to this language problem. So this is the first thing. This is the second aspect of the education, imparting of education in the regional language. Also, there are several countries in Africa's or Latin America's where uh, uh, a student face so much difficulty when they are taught in English language. So, because as I said earlier, that a student can express their ideas, a student can express their thought, and if a student can express their creativity in mother tongue or regional language in efficient manner. Okay, as we have also faced communication problem uh, in various times, because our regional language is Hindi, and when we go to the industry and while start working, we have to communicate in English. So it is little bit uh, uh, so uh, so our policy say so the NEP 2020 start promoting the regional language in education in regional language. So this is these are some benefit that I have cited. Now there are some challenges also. So AICT started translation of the various NPTEL videos swam videos in various regional languages. Okay, so so up to this thing it is good, because suppose I know Bhojpuri, and there is a video thermodynamics in Bhojpuri, then I go to the YouTube and will go through that video. But suppose if IIT Patna professor, if the government will say that the professor of an IIT Patna, yeah, IIT Patna will impart education in Hindi language, in Bhojpuri language, then it will be very challenging for them, because they used to teach the subject in the language English for the past through their lifetime, throughout their career. They used to teach in English language, so it is little bit difficult. I think it is a little bit it is more difficult to uh, uh, switch to another language in addition, except switch to another language. uh, yes. So yes, another problem is also that most of the there is a agenda behind promoting some particular language such as Hindi or some regional language, which is most of the time this is politically motivated. So I want to say that let the local language should be a medium of instruction. Means the local language should be the medium of instruction of teaching in the schools, medium of the instruction in the factories, where engineer can talk to the shop floor worker in their local language, and the English language should be as a way of communication. Means suppose as we know that English is a global language, so it is also necessary to learn English language. As Chetan Bhagat said in a novel, I don't yet remember the name of novel or book. In that it is written that uh, that yes, Hindi is our mother, English is our wife, and it is our duty to love both. So that's uh, that's all from my side on the topic education in regional language. So I request you to Abhay and Rajiv proceed with your opinion.
Wonderful, Mangalam. You have added various most of the points you have added in your uh, in your discussion. So I put my points. So today's topic is education in regional language. Why is it important? What are the advantages of the mother language, and what are the challenges faces to teach the students in the mother language? The first thing is that our education policy has launched uh, by Ramesh Pokhriyal in 2020. Uh, just before we have other education policy that has launched in 1986, and after a long time it has changed. I think there is great great growth, very good growth in the education system. So in that time in 1986 we have very backward in education. So this is the era of industry 4.0, and we have to things we have to learn fastly so we can survive. This is the main motto of the new education policy. This is if we teach the students in mother tongue, there is two things that will happen, and it helps to uh, learn fastly, or there are many teachers available to teach in the mother language, and the students can learn fastly. They have मतलब उनके पास they have created a critical thinking. So critical development of critical thinking, and if we uh, if we teach the students in other language like English, Marathi, and English is a global language, but we teach him if the student of Bihar and the teacher teach in Telugu, how they can learn. But the things are same. Uh, in the education, we teach it like we are teaching maths. देन वेयर वहां पे आपका 2+2 4 ही होगा, लेकिन अगर हम उसको वी टीच इन तेलुगु, द स्टूडेंट्स कैन नॉट अंडरस्टैंड. तो दिस इज द मेन पॉइंट. एंड इन एजुकेशन सिस्टम 2000 न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020, it is included that it is mandatory to include of all education industry till class 5th. The education industry instruction they give instruction in their mother language. This will help to understand understand the things by the student. And the other thing is that the student can know is मतलब कि ये कि बहुत सारे बच्चे क्या होते हैं कि पढ़ने जाना नहीं चाहते हैं. Most of students that do not want to go to school, because this is the reason behind it. They cannot understand what they are teaching, what they want to teach him. So this is difficult to understand them. Therefore they cannot go. But if we teach them in the mother tongue, they are interested to learn. So this will also help to a student to go to the school, and presentation will be increased. And the next thing is what is the challenges behind the mother tongue. If we always teach in the mother tongue, so the student go away from their state or away from their country. If any student go to the America and he want to research there, but their English language is available and all things are happen in English language, how he can research there. So the global language is most important thing to learn, but the regional language is also mandatory in at the level of at the 5th standard. And I give an example of a China. China's education system is only in Chinese language. So the Chinese cannot go away from their country, like he can go to the America, Germany, and various countries. They can go there and research. This is why various Indians are in other country, doctors and engineers and scientists. So the other language is the global language is also important. And this is from my side. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, Rajiv, for such a wonderful explanation about the topic. Now I want to share my views on the topic, that should regional language be promoted in education. As we know, in national education policy, as both of you mentioned, up to 5th standard, the teaching will be done in local language or regional language. Yes, as Mangalam and you said, it will be beneficial for students and it will be easy to understand for them in the regional language. So it is a good decision for the children. But in future, I think the children who are being taught in the regional language will face problems. take example of our college mates only. Most of us have studied from Hindi medium Bihar government college school, and after 10th, actually the problem is that after 10th class there are many very less number of books that are written in Hindi language. Most of the book are written by foreign authors and they are in English language. So government if wants to promote regional language at the same time in higher studies, I think government should look that book is not in our language. So first the book should be in our language, because if a person studies in his own regional language at low age and suddenly when he grows up and sees new language, then 2 to 3 years get wasted in just knowing the language and just getting the meaning of the language. So if at higher levels you can't implement a regional language in studies, then at lower level teaching regional language in regional language only subjects can be dangerous. But at the same time regional language is also important. I think that every subject should not be taught in regional language. I think just as English, there should be at least one regional language which should be compulsory for every student, but the subject should be taught in English only, because in higher studies most of the book is written by foreign authors, and at later stages we don't face problem. For that we should face problem at lower stage only. As for डॉक्टर जैसे कहते हैं प्रिकॉशन इज बेटर देन क्योर, कुछ उसी तरह है ये भी. When we grow up and we try to learn new things, then it's very hard for us to change, because from last 5 to 10 years we are been studying in Hindi, and suddenly if we want to switch to English, then it's really difficult. But a student who is a young student, a young children who is 5 years or 6 years old, if he will be taught in English, he will get habituated. And if we know that in later on we need this language, then that language should only be taught. Also in our country only, if we don't know English, suppose I am studying in regional language, and if I go abroad for studies to some developed states, or I give any interview, then after knowing also the interviewer or the state person see me from a side of negative, मतलब हमको नीचा मतलब देखते हैं, क्योंकि because we don't know English. So if the mindset of our own country people remains like this, so how can government मतलब बढ़ावा दे सकते रीजनल गवर्नमेंट शुड गिव प्रोत्साहन दे सकते रीजनल लैंग्वेज को. फर्स्ट द माइंडसेट ऑफ अ पर्सन एंड गवर्नमेंट माइंडसेट इज आल्सो द सेम. In higher studies, a few years back I listened that in UPSC exam the medium of writing exam was first Hindi and English both, but now government is going to change it to English. So at one side in higher studies they are changing it to English, and at lower studies they are changing that we should teach everything in English. Government should decide whether to move with world and try to मतलब इंग्लिश के साथ पूरे वर्ल्ड के साथ मूव करना है, या हमें अपने लैंग्वेज को मतलब बढ़ावा देना है. The government should be clear about this, and for this the most important thing is books should be written in regional language also. The higher studies book should be available in our regional language. Without that we can't gain higher studies in our regional language. But at the same time I feel, as Manglam said, knowing regional language is very important. So one regional language should be taught to student up to class 12, I think at least, and if possible in graduation also one of the regional language should be taught, because after going to company or communicating with local of any place, if I know the regional language, then it will be very easy for me to transmit my idea to the local person, and he will also feel emotionally attached, I will be more connected to the people of that area. But if I know only the foreign language, then they will at first sight only they will see me as a foreigner, and they will not be that much connected, and they will not pay that much value to my words, and also they will not understand what am I saying. At the same time, there are many more challenges for regional language, such as the professors are being teaching in English for 36, 35 years or 40 years, so on. And suddenly the professor is told that you should teach in regional language, then he will also face problem, because he has been trained to teach in English, and he has a habit of teaching in English for 35 to 36 years, and any habit can't be changed suddenly. So it will be a great problem for them. Moreover, the most biggest problem I think in this is migration. Suppose I am from Bihar. I started my studies in Bihar. I learnt my subjects in Bhojpuri language up to 3 or 4 standard. But due to some reason, I have to migrate to Tamil Nadu. Now in Tamil Nadu, the regional language will be totally different, and I will have to learn Tamil. It will be very difficult for me to cope with syllabus and the language both at the same time. And in higher classes, suppose after 7th class from Tamil Nadu, I go to Gujarat. Then in Gujarat, I will have to learn Gujarati at the same time. So it's very difficult, because in 7, 8, the syllabus goes that big. Moreover, after that, with syllabus, I have to cope with the language of study. So it will be very difficult. So I think that idea is good, but for implementation, there is too much training needed, and books should be written in our language. And moreover, in our own country, our language should be given priority. If we can't give priority, if we think that global language is English and it is supreme, then we should accept it and we should learn only in English. Or if we want to go with our subject, then we should go up to higher studies. Not that in lower studies you are telling that regional is important, and on higher studies and interview you ask that you should know English, you should be globally trained. If you are teaching him or her in English, then you should not accept him that he is globally trained and he is trained for working in multinational. And so I think one of regional language should be taught, and at the same time English should be taught, but the subject should be taught in English only, because we don't have books in our regional language. Most of the books are by foreign authors, and in higher studies the student will get problem. Once Atal Bihari Vajpayee also went to US, and there he gave a speech in Hindi. He told if a foreigner can come in India and give a speech in English, then why can't we Indians give a speech in our mother language there? So that should be the mentality if you want to develop. But here in our own country, if you don't know English, then you are thought of as a nonsense. When a few days back I went to Hyderabad, there if I speak the Hindi or local language also, only the less literate people used to speak. Most of the people used to speak only English. So with our own country people also, they are speaking मतलब फॉरेनर की तरह स्पीक बात कर रहे हैं. ऐसा लग ही नहीं रहा था कि अपने कंट्री के लोग हैं. तो कम से कम अपने में मतलब अपने भाषा को, अब भोजपुरी हम लोग आपस में मतलब अगर कॉलेज में भोजपुरी में बात करें तो प्रोफेसर कैसा, मतलब प्रोफेसर अजीब सा सोचेंगे, लगेगा कि नहीं ये तो बहुत लो लेवल का है. So we should accept it also mentally also. It should not be on paper only. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Yes, of course, Abhay, you highlighted the various aspects of this topic, that that there are various challenges associated with the with the education in the regional language. The first challenge is the unavailability of materials. So, so the students who are even preparing for the UPSC in the Hindi language, they have less availability of the materials. There is a this is the first challenge. The second, you have told that there should be a provision of migration. So the schools like Navodaya, so in these schools, there is a provision of migration in class 9 and 10 for 2 years of some students, not for all the students. So when suppose JNV Samastipur student used to migrate Tamil Nadu. I was from JNV Rajgir, so the student of there used to migrate Assam, and the Assamese student used to migrate there. In this way, there is a transfer of culture, transfer of diversity, and of course language. And also you highlighted that how local language is associated with the humility, means people will humiliate you if you are using local language several times. We often see that in the various times in interview, there is a communication will be in English language. So there is a, I think, contradiction arises due to this policy. But according to the policy, I think that the students should also know their local language as well as the global language, which is English, so that they will communicate in a well manner. Also, you must know that at the age of 4, one child have a capability of learn 4 language. But now we are about to pass the BTech. Although we have learned class 1 to 12 English language, class 1 to 10th I have learned Sanskrit language, but I didn't speak Sanskrit and English in a well-versed manner, because in our education system even English language is even taught in the Hindi medium. So how we can learn these things? And also similar things happen to the Sanskrit language. So these are some we can say that this problem is associated with our systems, because I'm surprised that that if one student are learning English language from class 1 to 10th or 1 to 12, then why he is not able to communicate in English language in a well-versed manner? So this is, I think, a problem associated with our education. So, so the National Education Policy 2020, in which the provision of local language, the future tells about the success of this policy and the local and the promotion of local language to impart education. Although there is various advantages related to this, but challenges is not very less. There are various challenges as I mentioned. So Rajiv, would you like to add some point?
Yes, I am adding some point. If we learning mother language, and we go for the another global language, like I am taking an example of teaching a mathematics. We are said in that 5 मतलब 5 हम लोग बोलते हैं हिंदी में, okay, but now this time various students cannot understand if anybody say 5, they cannot understand what is 5. But this is the problem of the current scenario. They go to the market, and the shopkeeper give him ask him money, 5 rupees, 5 rupees. So how they can give him? And this is the difficulties of the different languages. So in equal मतलब हम लोगों को जैसे कि कुछ चीजें हैं कॉमन, some common things we can teach them in both language, that is English and the mother tongue, because mother tongue is very necessary. Why education is important? Education important because we can survive in the, we are living in the society, and we communicate communicate with our neighbor and our friends and our colleagues, our relationship, in our relationship. So language is most important thing. Language, the role of language is very important. So मतलब कि दोनों लैंग्वेज में जो है मदर टंग तो सीखना जरूरी ही है, लेकिन ग्लोबल लैंग्वेज भी हमको समझना जरूरी है. This is and one thing I am adding that in I am talking about the Bengal. The Mamata Banerjee said that the every instruction by given by government that is written in the wall and the poster, in the poster, everything is in the Bangla language. If the other state people go to the Bengal and he cannot understand what is the instruction given by the uh, given by the uh, given by the government, or what the instruction says, because most of the cases we are we are driving a vehicle and going through uh, we want to go at the different location. So how can we understand where the way are going? So in the banner and poster, the regional language is not mandatory, but a common language that is used in the country, and the country can understand the same language, because if we talk about the Hindi, we go in the south area of India, but there are many people cannot understand Hindi, and Hindi is the Hindi is the national language of our country. So this is the difficulties of the language barrier.
Yes, Rajiv, I agree with your
Right.
point. We have faced similar difficulties in Pune bus stand of language difficulty. So we have only 2 minutes left. So Abhay, would you like to give a brief comment?
Yes, from the discussion, what I can conclude is the study should be both in global and regional language, but but other subjects such as science, social science, and many other subjects which are not language subjects, they should be taught only in English, because books are available in English language and most of the books are from foreign, so they should be taught in global language only. And at the same time regional language is important, so one or two regional language should be taught parallelly to students up to 12th class. And the teaching should not be only theoretical, as you mentioned. We all are from English medium, but we don't speak English with that much fluency. The reason is that we only study books in English. We are good at studying, reading the book, but we can't deliver our thoughts in English, because we never tried, we were never given chance in school. There was very much less chance given in school for practical communication in English language. There should be a practical in which regional language should be also spoken by students, and global language should be spoken by students. Not only reading, speaking is essential. Many people who opt out also, they might be reading Hindi. I don't think that they would not be reading Hindi. They are reading Hindi, but at the time when the time of speaking comes, they can't speak Hindi because they never speak Hindi, not at their home, not in school. Similarly, we people, we don't speak English anywhere. So if we are learning any language, speaking should also be done along with reading. That's my conclusion.
Yes, thank you, Abhay. We have only 20 seconds left. So thank you for your point and thank you for joining. So I think tomorrow we will discuss about on the topic, academic scores are not necessarily a good measure of intelligence. Okay. So
Thank you. Bye.
yes.